welcome to the pit. This is another episode of Talk Bolt Action, but a different one from the ones we are already you had able to see, because today we are not talking about third edition, because we don't have any more news from Warlord since the last video. So we are doing something different. Today I want to tell you about a project that my own gaming group, Friuli War Games, is undergoing in this month. And to speak about this project, I've asked two of my friends from Friuli War Games, Josh and Alessandro, to be here with us today to speak about this event. So, without further ado, Josh, hello, thank you for being here. Welcome to the pit. What can you tell us about this event?
Well, first of all, hi, everybody. Thank you for this awesome occasion, Roberto. Really appreciate it. Roberto and Alessandro are two good friends of mine from this beautiful group that is Friuli War Games. And we decided to jump into a historic event, not a tournament, not a typical tournament that you see around the area, but a historical-based event called Battle for Stalingrad, which is a two-day event happening in November, the 16th and the 17th, where we're going to play 20 scenarios from the Stalingrad campaign book and the Case Blue campaign book from War Games. We are opening this event to whoever wants to participate, especially in Italy for this first time, but maybe in the future we will have more events open for international players, who knows. But yes, so right now we are looking at about 5 tables going for 2 turns each day, so a total of 20 scenarios, which are again chosen from the books Stalingrad and Case Blue, and they will be either a 1 versus 1, it could be a 2 versus 1, or it could be even a 2 versus 2 players. For example, we have the Pavlov house scenario, which is the most iconic scenario from Stalingrad. Everybody knows about Pavlov's house, which we decided to play on a double board. So it's going to be a 2 versus 2 players in this case.
Alessandro, what can you tell us?
Hi, everybody. What can I tell you? I tell you, we have a lot of work to do. Each table have a lot of different types of scenery, and not very often see on the table, like bridge, railroad, and very big structure. Then we need to do everything, basically.
Because actually some of the hard and fun part for us, for the tournament organizers, is to prepare everything for this event. So we have been doing quite a few of playtesting lately, trying different scenarios, working out whether they do really work well as written or whether they need some tweaking. Right, Josh?
Exactly. So we've been trying them out as written, as Roberto just said. We've noticed that on a couple scenarios, a few things had to be changed, not to make the scenario playable, but for our personal taste, we just wanted to add a little bit extra flavor or eliminate that one particular detail we might not like as a group. This is to ensure both players have the most amount of fun possible from each scenario. So yeah, we've been working very hard between playtesting and getting all the terrain ready. We're talking about having a grain elevator model in one of the tables, which is something that you would probably never see in any other bolt action event, I think. So yeah, what we're really going for here is get the participants to be immersed completely into our event. And as Roberto will probably repeat later on in this video, what we're trying to do is we're actually trying to make this event an experience, an actual bolt action experience, where all players coming to this event go home happy and satisfied with the event, not just because of the hopefully good scenarios we're proposing, but feeling like they were actually part of a larger project, which is this whole campaign.
So, Alessandro, we already mentioned that it will not be a tournament, right?
Yep.
What is it going to be?
Essentially is an allow to the second edition, because we still play on the second edition, even with the third edition already out on November. We do that basically for say hello, and because all the players coming to join us already played the second edition, and all the scenario and everything we talk for the book is from the second edition, then we don't have the time to adapt everything. And basically is a nice little experience to enjoy with a friend. And say hello to our love at the second edition of the game.
And what kind of armies are we expecting to play in this event?
Well, obviously, oh, sorry, Alessandro, go ahead.
Can go. You build a lot of the model. We given the player we don't have, then you can speak first.
So, of course, being a Stalingrad-based campaign, we're going to be seeing a lot of Soviets and a lot of German armies. But the reason why we decided to extend a couple scenarios from the Case Blue campaign, which is in the same about the same period and some similar locations. I mean, we're always talking about the East Front in 1942 and 43. But what Case Blue allows us to do, it allows us to have our friends who have an Italian army, a Hungarian army, Romanian army. We're giving them the chance to play a scenario with those minor Axis armies as well, to give it more flavor, and especially, as I just said, to allow people who have an alternative army to classical Soviets and German to have a space for them to use this army during this event.
Yeah, because we know that there are many bolt action players all over the world that maybe collected an army not because it was strong on the battlefield, but because they really loved the historical fluff, so to say, beyond the army. For example, here in Italy, we have the 8th Army, the Armir, that is, very, very dear to us. It's an historically very, very significant for the Italian involvement in the Russian campaign. And the same goes for many other armies that maybe haven't seen much use yet. So this could be a nice way to indulge them, so to speak, right?
Yeah, so especially because, as we mentioned, this is not going to be a tournament. This is a campaign event where some scenarios are essentially written for one of the two players to win or lose. So it's not going to be all about winning the game. It's about having fun and looking at the historical side of the scenario itself. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get the participants to not bring all of those tournament choices, to not feel obligated to bring those tournament choices to this event, and preferring rather to have a more historical army on the table. So, for instance, like the multiple rocket launcher, yes, they've been used, but we're trying to not have a spam of those, because on a lot of scenarios, a multiple rocket launcher with all the buildings in the Stalingrad campaign tables would be absolutely devastating for what they actually did during the Stalingrad campaign. So we're trying to write army lists as a guide to then send to all the different participants and say, this is our idea for this army, for this scenario. Please see about bringing something similar. I mean, they can tweak it, they can change something, but we're giving a sort of guideline, both to help the player. Maybe they don't know exactly what went on in that scenario. We're doing the historical research behind it. and also, again, to give a guide of what we'd like to see during this event on the tables.
Yeah, and Alessandro, for example, if I would like to attend to the event and I don't have enough models, or I don't have, for example, a Russian army, will I still be allowed to participate, to attend?
Of course, we give it the army. The army list we scribe and we test. We build in the model too. Then, if you want to test an army you don't play often, or you never ever played in your life, you can play it. We give you the model and you play the mission you want. It's simple.
Okay.
And tested, then you can enjoy, because all the tweak we did is basically to force the player to try to win. They cannot to simply go because they have more point or because the mission is set up to easier the way in. They have to really try and win.
Yeah, exactly. Because as we already said before, the point of this event is not really to have someone come out victorious. Of course, in the end, maybe the Russians will defend the city as they did historically, or the Germans will manage to conquer it. But that's not the point. There won't be like a ladder, it will just be a nice event for everyone. At least that's what we hope, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, as Alessandro just finished saying, our idea is if you don't have that particular army, or for instance, if you don't have that particular unit, which is mandatory on some of the selectors, we are building these models, painting these models, and we will be giving these models to whoever needs these models. For instance, on one of the scenarios, the Soviet player is forced to choose 2 mandatory airborne units, and the Soviet airborne units are not a common unit to see in a Soviet player's collection. So what we decided to do is we decided to buy 3, 4, 5 different boxes of these Soviet airbornes, paint them up so wherever these are needed, they can be, they're available to whoever wants to play. Another example for this is if I want to participate and I only have an Italian army, I can play my Italian army in one of the scenarios, but then I can get one of the armies to use. One of the armies in our group, we are giving to the participants who want to change faction even between scenarios, which is another thing we're trying to get people to do. So you're not obligated to just play Germans all campaign long. You can even switch sides if a player wants to.
All right, now let's go for something different. Let's go for a small trivia. We mentioned before that we are still working on the maps. We are still putting the finishing touches on the various buildings and the various scenarios that are going to be played in the battle for Stalingrad. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to post a screen from some of our test runs, and you will have to tell me and to tell our viewers which scenario it's in, and maybe what are the problematics and the peculiarities of the scenarios and so on. So are we ready?
Let's go.
Let's go for number 1.
Okay. Alessandro, can I start on this one?
Yes, the name is all yours anyway, because I don't remember all the map, but
okay. So this right here is a work in progress, a very early stage work in progress of what is the scenario number 3 called Spartanovka, which is essentially the German advance into the first factory area north of Stalingrad. This scenario has Germans advancing and Soviets have this special units called the factory workers actually fighting in this scenario. Very, very fun scenario, in my opinion.
All right. Let's look for another one. And it could be, for example, ooh, this is nice. This is something that has been mentioned already, so it will be nice to be seen. Just 1 second. Where is it? Oh, this is live, of course, so you will excuse me for these small technical difficulties. We are working for you. Okay. Here we are.
Yes, the monolith.
All yours. Go, Alessandro.
Yes. This one is only half of the table because the other half is the railway with all the structure inside it, and we try to figure out how to put in the parking, we can call it, with the everything, and we build all side, all the left side of this table because we don't have enough machinery to run like we want, and the building is very tall, like you can see, and was very challenging to play and figure out how to play with the rules because especially for flamethrower, it's a problem when you put the building on fire is something we have to tweak for this mission, especially, and we still building all the things going on this side. And this particular table we run for 2 turns, then the people can see it for a long time.
You keep talking, just grabbing another picture from this table to give exactly an idea of how big the model actually is.
The grain elevator.
Yes.
So
it's
that's a
huge
234 for scale.
It's a huge building. This is actually a model from Father and Sons Gaming, which I thank for the help in getting this. This is a representation for an adaptation, excuse me, for the game of what was the grain elevator in Stalingrad. The building was so big they had to adapt it to this particular scenario. And in this case, it is a bunker type structure. So it follows the bunker rules, divided in 5 different sections, which is something you never ever see on a table, which is why we're not organizing a tournament, because you could never see a building like that in a tournament because it just creates so much confusion. But we're building specific scenarios around that building, which is something we tested. We had a huge amount of fun. And the Soviet player, even though they are playing at half points compared to the German, still managed to take a win for the time we tested it. So excellent scenario.
This is a classic.
Just of course,
Okay.
all the business is made by you then.
So this is another one. This is a very, very early work in progress stage. This is our double-tabled Pavlov's house interpretation. So what you see here in the picture is one of the structures of the Pavlov's house apartment complex. So in this case, based on this picture, you have the Soviets deploying from the left side of the table, while the Germans are deployed on the right side of the table. And the reason why we opted for a double table on this one, so this is actually it's going to be a 2 versus 2, is because it is such an iconic building is such an iconic battle, the battle for Pavlov's house. I mean, everybody that heard the name Stalingrad knows about Pavlov's house. So we decided to give it even more importance than what it already would have on a single table. So we're still waiting on the testing on this double table as of today. But this is definitely a project soon to come, and I can't wait because we have more buildings to add. And the one time I tried it on a single table, I had a blast.
Yeah, this will be really, really massive. It will be also messy, probably, but
Yeah,
that's
messy
at
and
the far
massive.
right. Okay, let's see if we have something. Oh, wow, this is just nice to see, to give our friends and viewers an idea of the kind of buildings of elements that will be seen in the event. And this is the theater that will be placed by 9th January Square in the Pavlov's house scenario. Okay, let's see if we have a final. Oh yeah, this one's spicy. This one is for Alessandra.
The factory, I suppose.
No, but we will get to that too.
Okay.
I was thinking about this one.
Okay. Oh my God. It's a very early stage of the table we're going to make, and the huge blue thing in the middle supposed to be the structure with the tank on the top, the water tank on the top, transforming in bunkers. Then I have to do all the work and all the craters around all the map, and the structure is very high, then you cannot see through, and divide the table on three sectors basically, and it's a conquer objective table. Then the adversary have to take the trench or the enemy building, structure building on the top. There is a lot of work to do. For sure, we take some picture when the table is ready, and we can see the difference.
Oh yeah.
After.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Very early stages of the tables. Yes. These pictures, very early stages.
Time we try the measure for the structure we have to build, then we know where to put the things on the tables as a reference when we finish all the piece.
So this has been mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. One of the big fabric. This one is another yearly because you can see the cardboard structure on the left side, and the Russian have to defend this structure from the German assault. It's a very fast game because lasts only for 6 turns, but the Soviet have a very number disadvantage against the German. Then they have to defend very, very aggressive for take a win, and we have to do all the things inside the fabric, the building, because there is no structure like this in the market. Basically, the measure is very, very tall. All the wall, the rubble inside,
the chimneys.
Yes, the chimney, the rails straight crossing the table. It's a blank canvas, and we have to do everything to show off something nice.
All right, now the last one, Josh.
Okay, so this is another. These are all work in progress pictures, early work in progress. This is the factory assault scenario. So this actually we are going to play twice during the event, but this is going to be interesting because the first time it's the Soviets defending the factory area and the Germans are invading. They are assaulting. They're attacking. They're trying to conquer the whole factory district. As Alessandro was saying earlier, even here we have the Soviets being on a numbers and points disadvantage. So their way to defend is to actually attack pretty aggressively and stall the German attack on its place, but what's going to happen is this one, then we will be playing this scenario on the last turn, which is more of it's going to have more of the winter scenarios where when the Soviets actually did the counterattack in their different operations, Uranus and Saturn. And in this case, we're going to play this one with the Germans defending. Basically, they're just defending what they had conquered, and the Soviets are pushing them out of the city. So that's going to be another very interesting scenario, in my opinion.
Yeah, because
as mentioned. Oh, sorry, Roberto, go ahead.
Yeah, because something that I don't think we mentioned yet is that we tried to work out the different scenarios, as in telling a sort of storyline, and following a storyline. So the events on the first turn of the first day are the initial approaches to Stalingrad, with scenarios like the crossing of the Don River and so on, and then we have turn 2 and 3 that are the actual struggle for the city of Stalingrad itself, and then on the fourth turn we have the final moments of the battle, where the Russians are taking over and the Germans are forced on a desperate defense.
Yes. All the final turn going to be on the winter, then a lot of the table have to be turned around and switch to winter
completely. Yep.
Yeah, we'll just have to sprinkle them with snow everywhere, snowflakes.
Yes.
All right. Well, guys, I think this is it for now. Again, this is just a work in progress, just to give you an idea of what's going on behind the curtains, so to speak, of this event, of the bolt action experience, the battle for Stalingrad. I want to thank again Josh and Alessandro for being here today with us. I hope you guys enjoyed this change of pace from the usual talking about third edition, but we will be back with that as soon as Warlord gives us more news. Until that time, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Alessandro.
Thank you, Roberto.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
And as usual, ciao, ciao.
Ciao.